Look at me doing 2 episodes in a row about subjects that are meaningful to my viewers. Huh. Welcome to Ask the Meadmaker, where I, Ricky the Meadmaker, answer your questions about mead making, mead drinking, mead brewing, and really any question you're willing to send to me. This is the second of 3 parts about what I wish I had known before going pro, and what I'm glad I didn't know before going pro. And as I said in the last episode, not things like, why are there so many people on this road driving too fast? But real questions that concern you as homebrewers who might be thinking about going pro. My first set of things I wish I had known about was equipment in general. I knew about commercial equipment. I had worked in a consulting capacity with mid-size and small brewers before I went pro myself, but what I knew amounted to a drop in the bucket at best. The biggest thing is I did not fully grasp HVAC systems, the coolant required to handle fermentations the size of mine. And Kelly and I actually got HVAC certified to install our own cool-fit piping, which leads me to the next thing I wish I had known. And this is one of the biggest things about going pro. When to hire professionals and when to do it yourself. Oh, I can do some soldering, I could do some wiring, I could do some HVAC. After the 3rd time my coolant system broke down in a catastrophic manner, including on the day that my daughter was born, I wish I had just paid to have someone else do it. And the 3rd thing while we're on this run is when you get a new carboy, a lot of people worry. I don't recommend glass dew buckets or the nice plastic carboys, but that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is 1.5 ton fermenters. How do you stand those up? They don't come standing up. They come lying down. How do you get them off a truck? How do you stand them up? I did it myself, multiple times. It was horrifying. One of them almost fell and killed my wife. It was the worst. I wish someone had told me, just hire someone. Then, it's Vermont. This isn't one of them big cities. Turns out, there's practically no one in the state of Vermont that has the equipment to handle tanks that size. And even the brewers, much larger than I am, get like hand cranks and stand them up themselves. So I guess this should be in the things I wish I didn't know, that I would have to do it myself. But I wish I had known to anticipate that and buy the proper equipment. The next thing that I've talked about in the past, and it's sort of an equipment thing, but it's more of a logistical thing, is how to package mead in the quantities that we produce. Now, I've said it a lot, bottling sucks. There may be fringe members of this community that get a sick delight out of bottling, and I'm sure you will leave me a comment in the doobly-doo about how much you love a bottling day, but generally speaking, people do not enjoy bottling. So we started in bottles, and it sucked. Then we switched to cans, and cans are great. If you want to know more about why cans are great, both for the environment and for packaging, we'll have a link in the doobly-doo as well. But how do you take 8,000 gallons of mead in a 1-week period and get it into packaging and get it out the door? The logistics of it are just fantastically overwhelming. The number of empty cans you have to have that then need to be filled, then need to be temperature stabilized in a way that people can access them, where the cases don't mold. It's another thing that doesn't really scale when you go from homebrewing to being a pro brewer. And luckily I wasn't canning that much when I started, so I got a sort of slow lead into this. But to this day, I spend 50 to 80 minutes a day just moving pallets around. The last thing I want to talk about before our next episode, where I talk about the things I'm glad I didn't know, is about the industry. So I said in the last episode, everyone's been so nice, everyone is lovely, but I was woefully, having worked in multiple parts of the industry before, woefully unfamiliar with the distribution model. Just how much energy you have to put in to get your product on the shelf. This goes from how much of my life is marketing, whatever the heck that means. Oh, I make great mead. That should be enough, right? It's not. It's not enough. Doesn't matter how good your product is. It's not enough. You need to know the ins and the outs of how the entire model works. And also, I wish I had just known more people when I started. I wish I had known more brewers. I wish I had known sales reps. I wish I had known stores, not just to get my product into stores because of having friends there that are willing to restock it and dust it for me, but because it would help me answer those questions. What am I doing wrong? And every once in a while, the answer is it's not you. It is someone else. But you have to have the guts to know that such and such is not your fault and to confront the person. And it took us years and years and years. And we're still pretty bad about it. We still usually assume it's our fault because it usually is when something goes wrong. But having a deep understanding of how mead starts as honey in a hive and ends up in a consumer's fridge. There are so many steps along the way, and most home brewers are really good up until it gets in package. But beyond that, you can never really know until you've lived it as a pro brewer. So those are the big things. There are little things like, I don't know, the difference between cash flow and profit and loss. That's a big one that you should probably Google if you want to go pro. I'm not going to bother answering it here on a mead making video, but there are a lot of little things like that about how to run a business that would apply to anybody. Those are big, but those are the ones that as a mead maker, I wish I had known. So there's 2 episodes worth. The next episode is going to be all about things I'm glad I didn't know. So if you're really thinking about going pro, you probably shouldn't watch that episode. Keep sending your questions, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. Cheers.